And so, first of all, my task after this incredibly emotional part is to bring you to much more boring stuff about economics. But I'm a professor of economics, so what else can I do? But first, I want to thank Shai family, Nimrod and Benny, for inviting me here. It's an incredible privilege and honor to participate in this absolutely magnificent initiative. So when you invest abroad, when you do due diligence, you have to ask yourself which country I'm investing in, so the country economy, which industry I'm investing in, and which people I'm investing in. And so on all three counts, my goal in the next 15 minutes is to tell you that from all three perspectives, it's a very, very good opportunity to invest in the country, Israel, in tech, and in the people that I want to remind you that you're not investing in the Israeli government. You're investing in Israeli people. And we've seen that there is a big, big difference between the ability of Israeli people to rise and to the occasion, which rather exceeds that of Israeli government. And it's not necessarily, it's not a political statement, it's just a fact. So let us go to first, wait. Yeah, so first of all, I want to show you the Israeli economy before October 7th. And I want to thank Karnit Flug, former governor of the Bank of Israel, for her help with the slides, because her slides are always great, and I decided not to mess with them. So Israeli economy, we have $200 billion in foreign reserves, which is for Israeli economy is a large amount of money. It's about half GDP. We have our foreign assets by far exceeds our foreign liabilities. So as a country, we are net lender to the world. The current account surplus is about 4% of GDP. We have very low debt, about 60% of GDP. We have very stable financial system, and we have very innovative technological sector. These are the basis of the Israeli economy. And this is, you know, these children's books that are called Find Waldo. Okay, so here's the growth for per capita in fixed prices. So this is real terms. So I challenge you to find a major financial crisis, 4 military operations, and a major pandemic. Okay, in this graph. Well, major pandemic is easy. Okay, everybody knows that. The rest is a bit, even the major financial crisis you don't really see in here. What does it say to you? It says that Israeli economy is very, very resilient. It bounces back from shocks very quickly. So you don't even see 2014, 2012, 2006, etc. So that is the country that you're investing in. In terms of inflation, you know, we recovered from 1985, 400% a year inflation. I lived through this, not fun. It's in textbooks today, but since then we have one of the lowest inflations. Even the latest peak of inflation, we had the lowest in the OECD, one of the lowest in the OECD. And in terms of employment, if you look at these graphs, so the participation rate grew from about 73% 30 years ago to about 81%. The employment rate grew even faster, and so the unemployment is very, very, very low. And then macro post-October 7th. Well, you cannot argue with the tremendous shock that we've experienced, but we were not, well, I can't say we were well prepared for that shock, but we were standing on a very solid basis as an economy. And so if you look at the forward-looking at the barometers of the economy, so this is the foreign exchange, so it jumps up, and then it goes lower than it was before. So there was some intervention of the Bank of Israel, but it was relatively minimal. Out of $200 billion, they sold like 12 or something like that. So this is not a massive dumping of dollars in order to reduce the rate. The stock price, I apologize, I just noticed that October 7th moved into November on my graph. So October 7th is actually that decline, but you can see that we are behind over the entire 2003. We're behind the major indices, but the behind part is not due to the October 7th. It's actually due to all kinds of strange things that our government attempted to do during that year. This is actually a good thing from the investor point of view, because there will be a catch-up. It's just going to, so we have a 20% gap between the stock market in Israel and the rest of the market. It will pick up. And you can see that from the bottom of that trough, the stock market rebounded quite significantly since October 7th. These are the predicted growth. I mean, actually 2023 is actually somewhat negative, but the recent numbers about 19% decline in the Israeli GDP in annual terms is a bit strange statistic, because Israeli GDP did decline 5% in the last quarter. Okay, well, we mobilized about 10% of our labor force. We vacated another 150,000 people from their homes, and we have been engaged in a 4-month war. So definitely this has a cost. But if you look at the OECD projections of Israeli growth, okay, it is higher in 2024. It is higher than the developed countries. In the 25, it's higher than the developing countries. So we're going to have a catch-up. Okay, that catch-up is going to reflect itself in the investment climate. Clearly, there is an expected deficit. We're going to have to spend more. But what's important is Ron Prosor, actually the ambassador, mentioned that, is that according to OECD, and theirs is most rosy forecast, our GDP our debt to GDP ratio is going to be about 64%. I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of European and other countries that will wish for that. And this is after all these expenses. So we are fairly solid as an economy, and this is just summarizes that. But I want to remind you that we still, in the investment term, there is a hesitancy to invest, which is, if we historically look at the best investment cycles, you invest when nobody else or very few others invest. When you invest when everybody else invests, you usually lose money. So that's the point on the economy, and I want to come back that the Israeli economy is very resilient, so we will rebound fairly quickly. The second part is, what is the industry that you invest in? And I'm not going to talk about the people, but this industry is all about people. It is one of the most exciting investment opportunities in the world in the earliest stages. So here's the ecosystem, okay? The dark whatever color that is, blue or whatever, these are the excellence points of the Israeli ecosystem. These excellence points were developed due to the solutions to the existential problems of Israel. Okay, so software and data and AI, they came, like everybody everywhere else, they came from universities. But in Israeli case, most of them came from the military, because we have to figure out how to be much stronger in terms of intelligence, in terms of detecting all kinds of stuff that people want to do to us. The same with sensors and robotics, most of which comes from the military. The life sciences, of course, comes from the medical institutions and universities, and plant and water and soil sciences, it's one of the top institutions in the world, one of the top 3 institutions. In Israel, it was founded 28 years before the State of Israel was founded. It's the Volcani Institute. And so if you combine, there is additional, some of those in climate, energy, but they are and materials are much smaller. So if you, various combination of these strengths bring these clusters, the numbers below are numbers of innovative companies that have been funded and are selling. And you can see that whether it's cybersecurity, enterprise software, fintech, most of these are not Israeli needs. Most of these are needs of other countries because of much larger ecosystems. The best indication is actually on this left corner is Industry 4.0 and smart mobility. Israel doesn't produce any cars. In Israel, for all practical purposes, if you compare to Germany, Israel doesn't have an industry. Literally, I mean, we have here and there some small production facilities, but yet, Israel is number 3 or 4 in terms of attracting investments in Industry 4.0. Because of the sensors and AI, it creates all kinds of improvements in the production processes and capabilities that are incredibly important. And we were talking about Mittelstand. In the report by Bertelsmann Foundation about 6 years ago, there was a and I encourage you to find and read that report. It basically explains the logic of why Mittelstand should be connecting and are connecting to these capabilities. So this is the picture of the ecosystem, but what's important to say is that it's quite a unique ecosystem. It's the ecosystem that doesn't start from the need, it starts from technology. It's the deep tech driven, because these are people who drive this, are people experts in technology, and they look for solutions, which is incredibly important, because if you come from the need and you understand the capabilities, you are the one that become the design partner, and you create huge value through that collaboration. The second thing is that they are startup-based. Very few innovative companies, some of them, of course, grew tremendously, but most of them are coming as startups. And so if you represent a large company, the synergy between these two effects, if you know how to do it, is incredible. And finally, it's mostly B2B focused. There are some B2C companies, but B2B is the main structure. And so this is geared towards Mittelstand and large companies, so that collaboration is incredibly powerful. This is the ecosystem. I'm not going to go into the details, but it's the most densely populated ecosystem in the world. It's 17% of GDP. Okay, this is by far exceeds any other. So in the relative terms, it's about 10% of the labor force. So this is a very, very important, and it can be accessed in a centralized way. If anybody wants to talk about it, I can help with that. These are the investments on two sides. These are VC investments on the right, and these are R&D centers, which is also an investment. It's just investment in people rather than in products. And my recommendation is to go through the investment and collaboration side rather than setting up an R&D center, but that's a separate story. There are many reasons why it's important, why this happened. There has been, Ron spoke about the culture, Ron spoke about IDF. Immigration is a great basis for creating sparks. I just found out an hour ago that one of the presenters today immigrated from the former Soviet Union together with me at the same time, and I knew him when he was three years old. Okay, so that's the Immigration Society. Some government support was very important, both in terms of what they did and what they didn't do. It's incredibly important to help, but not to intervene too much. And there was a lot of luck. And, of course, there was a lot of international support, not a small part of it coming from this country. And we hope that it will grow. That's it. So now we can actually talk about interesting stuff. Thank you.